What's up YouTube, Capital G here. So I was watching Dual Rock 88's channel and he posted a top 16 Evilswarm deck from the German Nationals. This was, and I hope I don't mispronounce his name, MegaCapitalG's deck. It was surprising, not just that he ran the deck, but that he did so well. Now, I believe it may have been, maybe 6 weeks ago, something like that. I don't even know if it was that long ago. Probably within the last month, I posted a video talking about Evilswarm and saying that it doesn't necessarily matter if they're a meta deck, if they can beat most of the meta, because I still believe that your Necros match is not that bad at all. Obviously, Necros want to ritual summon high-level monsters, and if you can keep Unicorn off the field, they really can't do that. They basically have to resort to, okay, we need to Castel, or we really just can't do shit because so many of their cards will become irrelevant. I mean, I guess there's Ice Hand, Fire Hand, but that's like game 2 shit, so we won't really talk about that. And I feel like if you can just, get rid of a couple of key Tellarknights, then you can handle that matchup too. If you look at the Cleafor match, that match used to be really bad, but, obviously if you have Ophion out, they can't Pendulum Summon. You basically turn them into a normal summon beatdown deck, but Skill Drain was a card that always used to kind of bone Evilswarm over because their beaters would get way bigger than your beaters. You top out in this deck as far as just beaters go at 1950, and their dudes are 28, but now with them only having 1 Skill Drain and 2 copies of Cleaford Scout, like that matchup is way more manageable now. So you look at his deck, obviously it was teched out to beat Necros and Tellarknights, and actually here's some interesting tech. First thing that I noticed was he kind of cut out the filler. And I mean, when I was playing Evilswarm, like I noticed that these were really just the main ones that you need: Kirkion, Castor, Magnagora, and Heliotrope. And especially considering you can get 2 of these at a time with Bunny, and then you can search this from Rhoda. Like, you don't really need the other ones that much. Things like Thunderbird. I even noticed that Thunderbird stopped being that effective in a format where people play a lot of battle traps. It can be good, but Mirror Force is starting to lose popularity, and then you're starting to look at other cards that, other Evilswarm monsters that are kind of like a reach. They're not necessarily as good. So what he decided to do was he decided to throw in Halberd, one of the best cards from World Superstars in my opinion. Not only does it give you another card to search, because that was one problem I always had with Evilswarm when playing it, is you always needed Caster, but it was your only Rhoda target. Like, you always wanted Caster turn 1, or you want the Rhoda to get the Caster. But then it's like in the mid to late game, there was nothing else to get with your Rhoda but the 1 Caster, so you never had any other targets. This card seems like it could be a natural fit. Not only do Evilswarm want to control the battle phase, because it's kind of how the deck is built. Like, all of the deck's monsters are like 1600 and up, except really like Magnagora, which is 1550. But not only is this just it's a good solid turn 1 monster to put on the board, but it's really good at countering boards, and it's searchable by Rhoda. So, it makes it seeing in this deck really easy. When you don't want to go into the Evilswarm monsters, you can go into the more basic cards like Castel 101. If you're in a specific situation, Ragnar Zero, Abyss Dweller, cards like Rhapsody and Berserk, Cowboy, things specifically for one situation. I saw that he ran 3 copies of Forbidden Chalice. I'm thinking that this was probably for the Shadow matchup, because Shadows obviously struggle against this deck, because if you have Ophion out, well, shit, they just kind of fall apart. Like, I mean, they have some, I guess they have, they have some plays like maybe they get a Mathematician and play Fearless or something. They're not playing Fearless, they're in a really bad spot, but maybe they drop like a Cerberus in the graveyard. But just in general, they can't activate any of their Shadow spells. In the past, they wouldn't be able to Super Poly you. If they're playing BLS, they can't use that either. There's no more Snatch Steal, so you don't have to worry about them taking Ophion. But the one thing that the Shadow player can do is obviously set their cards like Squamata and Dragon. This is just an easy answer to that. And I think this was probably used against Tellarknights too, just as like a quick answer to Altier and to things like Deneb. You open with Deneb, okay, well, just go ahead and chain this. And the same thing goes for Breakthrough Skill. Breakthrough Skill is really good. I know people are like, well, if you play against Necros and they summon the Unicorn, then obviously they just negate Ophion. Okay, well, if you Breakthrough Skill the Unicorn, what the fuck is your opponent going to do at that point? Like, clearly they won't be able to ritual summon anything else. This card doubles as a great answer to things like Manju, Senju. If your opponent has a Denko on board and you somehow live through it, you can obviously just negate the Denko as well. You can use this to negate Unicorns on board. These 6 are just fucking deaf to Teller Knights and Mind Crush. You've seen these in so many decks. I actually think that this 9-card lineup is just amazing against Teller Knights and Necros. The one deck that I would look at this, deck and say, okay, you're probably going to get destroyed by is Burning Abyss. And he even said that. He said that he didn't play any Burning Abyss, which would be his weakest matchup. You see that he's obviously siding heavy, not just Macrocosmos, but 3 copies of Chaos Trap Hole, even bringing in Shadow Mirrors. And I know that you guys are, or some people are probably thinking, okay, it's a dark deck. Why would you want Shadow Mirror? The thing about this is, outside of Kirkion, nothing really triggers in this deck. Like Kirkion and Ophion, those are 2 cards in the deck that will trigger. I mean, you're not really relying on Master Key Beetle or any of the other extra deck cards like, you know, Bahamut, Key Beetle. They're just like specific. Maybe you have like an Emptiness that you want to combo it with for a deck lockdown. The card that you're always going to summon for the most part is Ophion, but obviously, Shadow Prisoning Mirror would hurt like Burning Abyss way more than it would hurt this deck because you don't really rely on that many effects. The only card that I would have really liked to see him play in here is I think he should have ran a Ring of Destruction. I feel like Ring of Destruction gives him enough utility for monsters that are already on the board and just quick answers. But it's like, I guess if you think about it, if his opponent does throw something out there that is a problem, he does have the trinity of Double Dark Hole, Regeki, as well as Breakthrough Skill to potentially just like negate it, you know what I mean? So I look at his deck and I'm just like, okay, you know, if you really expect to just play meta, I really don't think that you need Battle Traps, you know what I mean? I don't think that Yosenju are that big of a problem, especially if you have these, especially if you have this right here. You have the triple breakthrough skill so that Yosenju can't go off. You have the Mind Crush, so you know, maybe if you know what their hand is, you can just Mind Crush the monster before they summon the second one, or you can like get them when they Tenki or they Duality or something like that. So this deck looks very solid. I don't know if it's gonna be viable for our nationals, but if you expect to play a lot of what is the meta, like I would look at this build and think it's pretty damn good. As long as you don't run into Burning Abyss, I think that you shouldn't have much of a problem because, you know, the Shadow matchup can be handled by Ophion. The Teller Knight and Necros matchup get destroyed by these 9 cards, let alone the Ophion makes it so that they can't really summon anything but Unicorn and Castel and shit. Everything else just dies to Ophion. So let me know what you guys think. I think that this was definitely one of the most interesting decks that I've seen out of national season so far, and I'm only going to cover interesting decks. Like, I'm not doing any profiles on Necros or Teller Knights unless they're just some complete off the wall shit. But if you guys want to watch the original video, check out Dual Rock 88. I'll have his channel linked in the, or I'll have it in the description below. Thank you guys for watching as always.